And it's the 25th of November, and this is Stormont Buildings, Parliament Buildings, Upper Newtonards Road, all lit up in blue, and I presume that's in honour of our NHS workers. And these columns have seen some big names come and go. And here I am back up looking out over Belfast, City of Ambers, and I'm looking across at Stormont Parliament Buildings that I was just down at there a minute ago, and it's bathed in blue light in honour of our NHS. Good evening. I'm standing up at the back of our garden and I'm videoing Stormont Parliament Buildings, and I have videoed Stormont Parliament Buildings lit up red, but I've never ever videoed them lit up green. And you're saying to yourself, why are Stormont Parliament Buildings lit up in a nice shade of green? Well, it's the 17th of March, and this is St Patrick's Day, and Stormont Parliament Buildings are lit up in green because green is the colour of Ireland, and Patrick was the patron saint of Ireland. And you're saying to yourself, why is green the colour of Ireland? Well, if you're ever flying into Belfast or Dublin, you look down at the countryside, and you will see that it is a lush shade of green. There is nowhere else in the world quite like it. So Ireland, north and south, is synonymous with the colour green. And you're saying to yourself, when was this actually sort of formalised? Well, it was formalised, it came into being in literature and all the rest of it from the 1700s onwards. The term Emerald Isle was penned in a poem by William Drennan, and William Drennan was one of the leading architects of the United Irishmen Rebellion 1798. And William Drennan was a Protestant. He was the son of the Presbyterian minister of Rosemary Street Presbyterian Church in Belfast. And the leadership of the 1798 rebellion were also Protestant, and most of them were Presbyterian, and many of them and their associates were Presbyterian ministers, and many of those Presbyterian ministers were hung. Good evening. We're up at the viewpoint over Gilnahirk, and this is the scene over Belfast, a cityscape evening scene. And of course this is the 11th of November 2018, and we are exactly 100 years after the armistice, ending the Great War, or the First World War, or World War I, in which millions of people died. And we're panning round onto Stormont Parliament Buildings, and Stormont Estate and Stormont Parliament Buildings are all lit up in red, poppy red, to remember and show respect to all the guys who died. And many guys from Belfast and further out, Northern Ireland, and indeed the Republic, gave their lives so that we could have our freedoms of today. And we remember them 100 years on. And we've just come out of Stormont Buildings there. Parliament Buildings, and this is Belfast at night. This Prince of Wales walkway is 1 mile in length. And there's Carson down there.
Microphone come in.
And we're just heading on from Parliament Buildings now. Vast area, expanse. Come and see it for yourself. Why don't you? It's free. You don't have to pay to get in, and there's good toilets, and there's a lovely coffee shop. Good morning. We've just climbed up the 1 mile long Stormont Avenue driveway there, and we're seeing more we're seeing stacks of jays going back and forward across the avenue. All of these trees are arranged symmetrically. There's 4 lines of trees and they're spaced opposite each other. And this is the line of trees right up to Stormont Parliament Buildings. And this is a superb tourist spot, as well as being the home of our Parliament. And this is Carson's statue, loved by some, reviled by others. Not a popular figure even back then. And this is our Stormont Parliament Buildings. And sometimes a lot of the times I don't know what the folks in here think they're doing. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Absolute brilliant building. During the war, the roof of this was coated in a mixture of cow manure and pitch to make the moss grow green, so that the German bombers coming over wouldn't be able to identify it by it being a big white building. And they would certainly have bombed it, but it would have been a pathfinder to Belfast Docks. And it's the 2nd of October and it is absolutely beautiful. And the maintenance of these grounds must cost a bomb. I'm trying to see what temperature it is. I just can't see. I think it's probably about 12. And there's the police. There must be some dignitary in this morning for the police to be up here. I think Charles and Camilla were in yesterday or the day before, so they could well be back again. I don't know. Oh, the great and the good. And there's a checkpoint down at the bottom end as well. I was talking to one of the groundsmen there. That's a big surprise. I was talking to one of the groundsmen, and he told me that there's only 6 men. There's 420 acres here, and there's only 6 guys. There's Jay flying over. You see that? He's heading for the top of those trees, or the middle of those trees. He told me there's only 6 guys responsible for the grounds here, and one of them is he completely is, his job is completely to look after the flower beds. It's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Some amount of work, like, but it's a beautiful environment to get out of your bed for, to go to work for. Well, it certainly is on that's a pigeon. It certainly is on days like this. And a great public amenity. Before Mo Mullen in the 1990s, you couldn't have got in here. It was all closed to the public. But Mo Mullen opened the whole place up and had concerts. Elton John played here. I think Van Morrison played here. All right. And the guy with his big Alsatian. And great place for joggers, walkers, runners. There was a couple of guys running up this. I can hardly walk it. So fabulous spot. I'll just go right up there to you see.